And Miss Martin and I are going to go deep. We're going to talk about social media. This is sort of part two. Last week we had Chris Rhoad, and we talked about personal branding, and how important that is for a driver, a person like myself, or anybody else that is really trying to get their leg up in motorsports, or building cars, riding other ships. Like, these are all the things, they're tools that you need to know to help you get to the next level. Um, Even for something as simple as sponsorship for a car that you're building, not necessarily a race car, but a show car. These are the tools you need in order to make yourself more visible. And today we're going to talk about social media, and as you guys know, there are hundreds, or maybe not even hundreds, less than 100, or somewhere around there, different social media tools, from Reddit and Dig and Google Plus, Facebook and Twitter, and there's probably tons of other ones that I haven't really figured out. But what Amanda's going to talk about is how to use these tools to really build a online presence. Thank you for hanging around, Amanda, and thank you for giving us this info.
Oh, no problem. I'm glad. This is social media and racing are my two passions, so when they can collide, I'm happy to help in any way I can.
All right, well, let's jump in. So where do we start? What's the easiest place to start?
The easiest place to start with an online presence is, honestly, just simple, a basic, good website that is kept updated.
Okay.
I can't even stress enough how important that is. I know I've run FemaleRacingNews.com for 4 years now, and one of the things that I constantly was running into at the beginning, and even still now, is I'll find a new driver. I come across this girl that had an article written about her in some newspaper that comes in my email, and I was like, oh, wow, that's really cool. Let me go Google her and find her website so I can contact her. And I'll go to her website, and it's not been updated since 2009.
Ooh.
So, I mean, she's doing herself a huge disservice by having a website that's not being kept up to date. And there's, it's not that hard to keep a website updated, I don't think, at least. I think if you're a serious race car driver, you need to take time and effort and put it into, updating a website, or, just something simple like that.
Right. Maybe it's people don't really know about the tool itself, and they think, oh, it's a website, it's complicated, and all this other stuff. How easy are we talking about right now?
Well, honestly, it depends on what format your website's built on. If it's an older website, then it probably is a little more difficult for people to update. Now we have all these new formats that you can build a website on. You can build it on WordPress. It's the easiest format to build a website on. It's the easiest to keep updated. Anybody can use it. It's basically the same as writing an email. It has the same type of components. I mean, there's different other ones. WordPress is the easiest to update. So I always suggest to everyone that I can to build a website on WordPress, just because it's simplistic. It's easy to update for you, and it looks just like a regular website.
So at a minimum, go on WordPress site. You should be able to. They're free. You can get it up. It's really easy to get started. If you want to buy the domain, which is advisable, right?
Yes, definitely, because that helps. If you have a URL, then when somebody Googles your name, if your URL is your name, then it's going to be the first thing that comes up.
Right.
It's the easiest way to get. If your name's out there, if you have newspapers coming to you wanting to write articles about you, then you're good enough that you need to have, some legit website stuff.
Right. Because that's where people. I mean, let's face the facts. I mean, in this day and age, with all the information that's available, literally at your fingertips, if some reporter happened to find out, we have for example, Beth Chris. She lives in my area, and she's a driver, and she drives in this, Playboy MX-5 Cup. Maybe I need to go track her down, and maybe we can get an interview for our local paper, and boom, the first place they're going to go, Google, Yahoo, whatever, their favorite
Right.
search engine, and if they can't find you, they might just give up.
Right. Yeah, and then that's how it is nowadays. Nobody's going to drag out the phone book. Nobody even has a phone book anymore.
Phone book?
It's not how it's going to work anymore. Nobody does that. And
Oh, you mean that thing I level my table, right?
Right.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. I remember those things.
It's the same for businesses. Businesses need to, get on this bandwagon too, because I know we live in Knoxville, Tennessee. We've only lived here for 2 years. When I first moved here, I Googled everything. If I couldn't find you on Google, then you didn't exist to me. Because, that's just a simple way to do it now. So, people need to realize that, everything in this, it's not even moving in that direction. It is in that direction now. It's black and white now. You either online or you're not. And if you're not, then you're missing out.
Most definitely. So after you got the blog, the website up, and you're click-clacking away, posting relevant information, you have a nice solid contacts page, boom, what's next?
Next, I would, if you have a good solid website, then it's definitely, you have to move to social media. Social media is, everybody communicates via social media anymore. People's grandmas have Facebook. It's just the easiest way to communicate with people anymore, and everything is moving to the method of, people don't even use their phones to call each other anymore. They text, or they Twitter, or they Facebook. Nobody calls each other anymore.
No,
so
people do more with their thumbs.
Right.
No, I was saying people do more with their thumbs than they do with their mouth these days, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I know, I would rather almost text people a lot of times than talk to them, depending on who it is, of course. But, it's much easier to text somebody than to talk to them a lot of times, because it's easier. You can organize your thoughts a little bit more, and it's a lot easier than talking to somebody sometimes. But the next step,
if they have a Facebook account, instead of having just a regular Facebook account, you want to go for a Facebook fan page, right?
Right. Fan pages are different than regular profile pages, just for the simple fact it's easier for the person or fan to get in contact with you. They just like your page, and then they can go post on your page. So
right.
It's a lot easier. The fan page gives you more so, you can see the analytics of your traffic on your fan page. You can't see that on the first page. I'm actually transitioning Female Racing News from a profile page to a fan page right now for that very reason. It gives you so much more data on what's going on your fan page.
Interesting.
And when you make the fan page, you have to make it completely. You can't just throw your name up there and one picture of you in your race car and expect it to be okay. If nobody knows what series you run in, or if you run in a series that's kind of not very common, or if you just run at the local short track, you need to put what series you run in. If your local short track has a series, you need to put all that relevant information in there so everybody can say, oh, okay, this is Beth Chris. She runs in the MX-5 Cup, and it tours with all these other places, and they can go Google your series, and it can snowball. But if they just say, oh, this is Beth Chris, she's some kind of race car driver. I see her standing beside a Miata. I guess she drives that Miata because she's standing beside it and has her name on the door. You just have to. You can't expect people to read between the lines a lot of times.
So, what would you say is critical for that fan page? Of course, the website. You got to have the website up there because people are going to go from there to the website. Hopefully, there's a calendar offering, correct, on Facebook with the fan page. You can have a calendar that tells people where you're going to be. You can invite your fans to events and that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, the fan pages are actually growing. You can actually buy apps for your fan page that you can integrate. Yeah, that you can integrate. It's ridiculous how many. It's like an iPhone app or an Android app that you can build onto your website that makes your fan page look like a website, and it's really overwhelming if you go start looking at all the apps that you can put on there.
Mm-hmm.
You can do so much with a fan page, and especially now that Facebook's doing more and more updates, it's just making it more and more endless with the different apps that you can integrate on the page to make it easier to communicate with you. You can actually build a contact page on your fan page now so that people can actually send you an email from the fan page instead of going to your regular website. So
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's really crazy, all the apps that are coming out for it that you can integrate in there. The Facebook fan page is honestly becoming just as important as the regular website itself.
Fascinating. Now, do you think that there is, like, if you had to choose one or the other, which one would you choose?
I would go with the regular website just because that's the base foundation for everything. I think is a good, solid regular website. Google will find Facebook, but it always finds URL matches. Like if your name's the URL, it'll find that match before it finds a Facebook page. But it will find the Facebook page shortly after it. But usually that is the big deal. You want to get a good, solid website is always a good base.
Interesting. Because I did not know this. I started the Will's Carcast page and had a good time, and I'm still posting up there if you can track that down on Facebook. Yeah, I didn't know you could have all these cool little add-ins. So for everybody that's out there, you have a fan page, there are add-ons you can get to really enhance your fan page. The contact me or contact field there will be actually very important for getting information out. What's the other one? What's the other one? Twitter. I'm guessing will be the next step, right?
Yeah, I'm a huge advocate for Twitter because I know me personally, I've talked to people that I would never have been able to talk to, just being me, talking to people. With Twitter, you can talk to people, you can reach out to people, you can build a fan base and be a grassroots driver. You can build a complete fan base around Twitter and Facebook, and once those numbers mean stuff to sponsors. If you're just Joe Smack who drives in local drift events, but you have 5,000 Twitter followers and like 600 people liking you on Facebook, they're gonna look at you a little more closely. Just because you're like, oh well, they have all these eyes on them already. Why would we not try to help this guy out some? So a lot of sponsors are starting to look at an online presence for drivers. Drivers are a dime a dozen. Let's not play around. How many race car drivers are in the world? People, say even girl drivers are getting to the point where there's a lot of girl drivers as well. So, you have to make yourself stand out. You have to make yourself be that person who goes the extra mile. You have to, if they look at you and there's you and somebody else and you have basically the same driving qualifications, which one stands out more? Which one has, if you have a better online following than this guy over here, then more likely they're going to pick you. If you have a good brand that you've built, you've built all this fan base up and everybody knows your name and everything, they're going to pick who people already know. It makes their work easy.
Interesting, because basically you want to create a package, and as a part of that package of you as a driver, besides your past sponsorships, besides your past, what they're getting with that package is boom, automatically all your Twitter peeps. You're also getting people that frequent your blog or your website. Plus, they're going to get all the people that frequent your Facebook page. Those are three things that really say, you know what, this person has a combined, or maybe altogether something like 5,000 people follow this particular driver, and maybe they're trying to make that leap from, say, Pro-Am drifting up to the next level. Then we know that these are 5,000 people that are already dedicated. They're already invested in this particular driver. And you can look at the Twitter timelines, and you can see like what the driver's interaction with his Twitter followers, and if everything seems very, very positive, and he's very professional, and all those things, it seems like you're really literally adding points to your overall score as a driver, which will definitely set you apart from everybody else.
Exactly. And a lot of times when people are just starting into this and they're like, okay, well, I think I'm to the point now where I need a website. I think my driving's good enough that I need a website. I need to start, getting people interested in who I am. There's so many,
right.
Even people don't, I guess, think about it, but if you go on message boards and forums, I know when like 5 years ago, that's all I lived on car forums.
Right.
But that's basically the same thing, and people still have forums and message boards now. I mean, if you're in drifting and you want to get recognized in the drifting community, then you need to go on, drifting message boards and just start talking. People will recognize your name, and people will start going to your website and checking out and seeing who you are and what you're about. And
precisely.
Anything, it can be any niche. You can go to drifting. You can go by the make of your car. You can go to like a Mazda forum, or you can go to like a location. You can go to like I know there's a Mid-Atlantic section. There's tons of this Mid-Atlantic location car forums.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you could go to any of those, and you can turn those people that you talk to on those forums into Facebook fans, into Twitter followers, and everything just keeps circling back and forth. You just have to make sure that you do interact with people. If you just go register on the forum, nobody's going to know you're there. It's
right.
like if you create a Twitter account, if you don't talk to people, or if you don't create some kind of interaction with other Twitter followers, then you're not going to get anybody to follow you back.
Mm-hmm.
So you actually have to. It's what you get out of it, what you put into it.
Right. So it's almost like a second job.
Right. Oh yeah, it's definitely something that you have to really work at. You can't just expect people to follow you because you're a race car driver. Some people, yeah, you'll get a lot of fans who just go and search and say, oh, well, this person's a race car driver, I'll follow them. But those people are also going to unfollow you if you never say anything.
This is true. Or they just, you just will be invisible, and they won't, for example, when they're looking through their Twitter feed, if you really don't talk that much, and they're, the last time that they actually looked at their Twitter feed was like, 200 messages ago, and they're just quickly thumbing through, and you don't ever post anything, and the one time that you do, and it's fairly important, they're just going to skip right over because they're not going to recognize your name just as they're going through it, whereas, somebody who they are more invested in, personally, because they've engaged in conversation with that particular person, they're going to pick it out just like that and keep on going and really look at everything that they're posting. And that's, one of the things that, you're noticing right now, and at least I think so, for people who are, I guess I would call them Twitter power users that have tens of thousands or hundreds of millions of people who follow them, they have a tool that some people are really good at leveraging. And the one person that I like to follow right now, and I really look at him for Twitter, is Joe Rogan. Like anytime he posts something, like I'm always going to look at it because he always posts very interesting things.
Right.
And stuff that's right alongside with me. And I'll always look at stuff that you're posting. It's actually funny because I actually found you on Twitter when I started doing the podcast. You were one of the first things that popped up, and it was like, oh yeah, and we started talking, and we've had a great conversation, over just about a year. You and Chris, so it's definitely been interesting, and that's a perfect example. I started a podcast, Will's CarCast. I got on Twitter, started posting, trying to really figure out my way through Twitter. It's sort of like a really steep learning curve. And I came across people like you and, things you were interested in, and so I started following the people that you were following, only because, like, I thought they would be good people to possibly get on the show, and then sort of through you, I found some of my first interviews.
Right.
And
Yeah, it's spider webs. That's for sure.
exactly. And so for drivers and everything else, like, there you go. Like, you find the people that, you would like to be like. Like, for example, if you're in Pro-Am, but you want to get up to the next level and you really idolize, say, Odi Bakchis or Kyle Mohan or Daijiro Yoshihara, you look at what they're using, Facebook, Twitter, and websites and everything else, and you try to mimic those tools, but you also got to start putting your own personal twist on it all in order to really make it work for you.
Exactly. And I mean, by all means, talk to people like that. I mean, I know I've sent Diet replies. He's replied back to me. I mean, I've sent, you can send people like that Twitter reply. I mean, even if it's celebrities, every now and then a celebrity will reply back somebody. I mean, even if it's somebody like you said, if you absolutely are the biggest Die fan in the whole entire world and you love Die and you reply Die all the time, if you go to like a Formula D event, you're like, oh, hey, Die, I'm so-and-so on Twitter, he's probably going to remember your name if he sees it enough.
Exactly. And that's so strong right there. That is so strong. I mean, when you're like a pretty serious fan, social media is being leveraged in so many ways right now. When a driver, say like Vaughn Gittin Jr., like, who's got tons of followers, he's got a really solid brand. He's got really good sponsors. Like, if you're a super fan, opportunity where you can actually interact with him, even if it's only 140 characters. If you are always throwing him some cool stuff and he responds to you, you guys may just become, pretty, Twitter peeps, essentially.
Right. Exactly.
And then boom, you show up at an event. He's going to hang with you for a sec. He's going to high five, take some snaps. You might get some extra stuff out of it you would not have normally gotten if you just sort of watching what he's saying. Right now these tools offer the fans and the followers of these people, amazing access potentially. But they got to do it right and not come off kind of weird. But people do stuff like that. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, well, you in any form of social media, you have to be genuine. I mean, if you go on there and you try to act like something you're not, people are going to see through you.
Right.
You're going to get discounted and written off, and it's going to be even harder for you to get people to, to take you seriously if, you go on there and act full. Then people aren't going to, they're going to write you off, and you're not going to be able to, build that fan base up as quickly as you would if you were just a genuine person on there. A lot of the girls that are on FRN, I think every single one of them have Twitter, and they all do a great job because they are genuine on there. I mean, they don't try to act like somebody they're not. I know all the drivers that I've come across, professional, grassroots, anybody that I follow that's a driver, all of them are, they're very genuine. They're very, they don't come across cocky or big-headed or anything like that.
Right.
But, yeah, Beth saying in Twitter, I'm actually who told Beth to get a Twitter. Because it's such an amazing tool. It's just, I mean, as a driver and wanting to progress in motorsports, it's something that I believe that you just have to have because you do get to communicate with people that you normally wouldn't be able to. You build that fan base. You build, all the things that you want eventually you can build for yourself online. I mean, there's so many different social media outlets that you can use. If you don't have to use all of them, I mean, of course, it's nice if you can use all of them because they're all so easy to utilize for yourself. Something that I actually tell a lot of people to use too is the check-ins on Facebook and Foursquare. Because to me, when I check in somewhere, I'm bragging about where I'm at. Like, if I go to FD Atlanta, I'm going to check in and be like, yeah, you know what, I'm in FD Atlanta, I'm at FD Atlanta, and you're not, ha-ha, So, I mean, a lot of the drivers, I'm like, you need to utilize this because you can be like, yeah, I'm racing this weekend, this is where I'm racing at. If you're near here, come check out the race. Or, if they're out training at the gym, they can, people kind of feel like they get to know them more as a person. And the more personable you are, the more people are going to like you and the more fans you're going to have. So utilizing all these little things with Twitter, you can do Twitter pictures, you can do Twitter video. You can, utilize those tools to pull in more guests, more fans, and, have them just feel like they're more part of your world than if they just see you posting tweets all day.
Oh yeah, I mean, like using the tag function, on Facebook. You take a picture with Di at a Formula D event, and you post it up on your wall, and you tag Di in your photo. That's also going on Di's page. Everybody's gonna see that Di took a picture with you. I mean, that's like the ultimate, like letting everybody know, like, yeah, I got a picture with Di. Like that would be dope. He signed my shirt. Whatever. Like that's. For fans, like, yeah, that's the amazing thing. But the most important thing is for the drivers or the personalities that, they're getting tagged in these photos because they have created such a personality that and such a fan base. Like, it just goes to show, like, when you really put in the work, people want to take pictures with you, like, you're really making those strides. And if you have a really solid fan base and a really good really good, man, what do I want to call it?
Charisma.
Yes, charisma, yes. When you got that charisma, like, it really starts to permeate everything else that you're doing, and everything makes everything so much easier. Here's a question for you from the chat room about the hashtag, especially as it relates to Twitter. How does the hashtag work, and I guess best practices for using it?
The hashtags on Twitter are, a lot of times businesses or companies will generate a hashtag and ask everybody who talks about that particular thing to tag it with that hashtag.
Right.
A lot of times, us being silly on Twitter, that's on Twitter all the time, we make up silly ones from time to time. But if you tag something with that, if you're using, I know I use TweetDeck as the program that I use to tweet from.
Right.
If you click on that hashtag, it will bring up every tweet that has tagged that same hashtag in it. So it's kind of like a search function for Twitter. So say everybody's going to be at SEMA. Everybody will probably visit SEMA will be tagging everything with the pound sign and SEMA. And if you click on that, it will bring up everybody who's tagged a tweet with pound SEMA.
Nice.
So it's kind of a cool way to keep up with an event, or if you're having a contest. I know a lot of blogs or websites have contests. They'll tell you to tweet something and hashtag it with their tag that they've made. That way they can keep up with who's tweeted it without having to go search every profile or, go search for the word. It's easier for that. But like I said, I make up silly ones all the time.
Oh, there's been no shortage of funny ones. As a matter of fact, call me crazy, but there was a TV show they created with Mr. William Shatner himself called, and I'll bleep it, Bleep My Dad Says, was actually a very popular hashtag for Twitter, was Bleep My Dad Says.
It was a Twitter account that this guy tweeted this crazy stuff. It was his dad always was like, his dad was like this 80-year-old old man that was like super crazy, and he would tweet all the crap his dad was saying, and it was really hilarious stuff. He had I'm pretty sure it's still available on Twitter, like he still does it, or it's still there, and it tells you, he had a ridiculous amount of followers, but it was really hilarious. So I mean, that shows you right there that can be translated, and I'm sure they had to give that guy money or something for stealing his name.
Oh, I would think so.
But I mean, the power of that there tells you, what somebody can see that and be like, oh, well, that'd be an awesome TV show. So I mean, it just shows you the power of what something like that can hold.
Totally true. So before we give away the whole thing and the whole package, and that's something that you guys do over there at Studio Rhoad and Female Racing News, let's wrap it up. I mean, the things that basically, why is an online presence important?
everything's online now. Nothing is, like I said, hardly anybody even reads the newspaper anymore. I mean, everything's online, so anything that you can do to build your brand online is going to be a good thing. Taking all the information that we've talked about in this, 30 minutes and combining it together and actually applying it will allow you to create a fan base that you wouldn't normally be able to create outside of your local area. You can reach people all over the world instead of just in your county or your, wherever your local track is. It allows you to be able to reach those people that you normally wouldn't be able to reach. Having the website allows people like me who are looking for you to find you. Say, if you are into collecting stamps and you have the most awesome stamp collection and you builded a website and everybody has to, be able to find you and say, I'm some stamp collector who has a website too and I want to get in touch with you so we can compare stamp collections. If I can't find a way to contact you, then, we missed out on some good stamp collecting talk or something. I mean, it's honestly, everybody has to be able to contact you. And if they can't contact you, you can't get your name out. If your name doesn't get out, then you're going to be stuck where you're at. If you want to race your local short track every weekend for the rest of your life, that's cool. Then, don't worry about it. If you don't want sponsors, cool, that's fine. But if you want, you want sponsors to recognize you. You want people to know who you are. And obviously, as a race car driver, you want people to know who you are. Or a team. If you have a team that you want, some sponsors to come and hop on board with your team, then, you want people to know your name of your team. You want people to know who you are, basically. And the easiest way to do that, in this day and time with everything online and everything's free, the only thing you would have to buy with a website is the domain, which is $10, and maybe a hosting. I think I've seen hosting for $3 a month.
You really can't lose with that, seriously.
I mean, it's a very small investment. The only other thing you have to invest is your time. And, Twitter is a little tricky until you get used to it, until you learn what you need to post, until you learn what creates interaction. Same with Facebook. You have to learn what people like and what people will interact with you with. So once it is a process, don't expect 500 fans in one day. But it is a process. It will eventually get you, fans. It will eventually have people following you. I know, like Beth said, I got her on Twitter a few months ago, and now she has quite a few followers. She has people who recognize her name and people that talk to her on Twitter all the time. And just, it's really phenomenal how people can just, get to know you via Twitter. I know I've met all my friends since we moved here to Knoxville, we met on Twitter. It's just, a lot of we always call them our Twitter peeps because that's who we hang out with. Everybody that we meet here, even one of them that's in the chat room that lives here, we've met all of them through Twitter because it's just an amazing networking tool for, like I said, drivers, teams, businesses, regardless of what you have. If you need to have some kind of networking, if you want to meet people and get your name out, Twitter and Facebook are the simple ones. There's a million other ones that we could talk about, but those are the two. That's the basics.
Interesting. Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, you have to use these tools, and if you're trying to really make that leap, go ahead.
And they're free. They don't cost anything.
This is true. That is the most important part. You got to use these tools. They're free. When I started the podcast, started Will's CarCast, I was using everything that was free. So that meant WordPress, that meant Facebook, that meant Twitter. I eventually did, buy willscarcast.com, which is still sitting out there. It has a pretty crappy landing page, but I got to work on that. And Studio Rhoad and I will come up with some options to try to make it work. And also your help as well. But by the way, at MotoIQ Radio on Twitter has 21 followers, So,
we need to get that up there.
Yeah. We definitely like to boost that up. We got to make that happen. But where can people get more information and about female racing news and following you online?
Female Racing News is, of course, FemaleRacingNews.com. The Twitter is @FemaleRacing because @FemaleRacingNews is too long. So it's just @FemaleRacing for the Twitter for that, and we have a fan page which is just Facebook.com/FemaleRacingNews. And my personal Facebook is Drifter Mama, the same as my name in the chat room. And Studio Rhoads is just @Studio Rhoad, and it's Rhoad with an H, RHOAD.
Very cool. And everybody check out. Hey, yeah, I got another one. I just picked up another Twitter follower. This is live, people. This is live. I just got another one. Thanks, Miss Abadi. I appreciate it. That's another one of those lady drivers out there kicking button, taking names. But
she's actually my interview for Moto IQ article on Sunday. She's going to be my She's my interview, so
that sounds. Everybody go check out MotoIQ.com. Look out for that this Sunday. Michelle Abadi is going to be driver profiled by the one and only Miss Amanda Martin. We're going to make it happen. Amanda, thank you very much for coming on, and maybe we're going to do something else a little bit in the future, and if there's anything new that's coming out, maybe after Google Plus has been run through its paces a little bit more, maybe we can talk about that. We can talk about Reddit. We can talk about, what's the other one that's out there? Dug it, whatever they want.
Dig, Double Pond. There's like a billion.
Well, maybe that's what we'll do. Maybe next time we'll just pick out 3 other tools and sort of how to make them work inside your toolbox, and what are the benefits, what are the pros, what are the cons, to try and make it work. I appreciate you coming on, and we're definitely going to get you on in the future.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Well, everybody, this has been a very action-packed episode. We had our first crack at Ask a Driver with Jeff Westfall. We also had Chris. You can check her out, BethChrist.com, @BethChrist. She also has a Facebook page. Go check it out. I'll make sure all this stuff is in the show notes. And we just had Amanda Martin. She runs Female Racing News. She also does a little bit of writing for Moto IQ Radio. And she works with Chris Rhoad over at Studio Rhoad Motorsports Marketing and Design. My name is Will. If you contact me, hit me up, will@motoiq.com. My Twitter handle is @MotoIQRadio. And let me know. Let me know what you think of the show. Let me know if there's any topics you want to get into. Next week will probably be a pre-recorded show. I am going to SEMA. I know. Crazy. And I really hope that I will bring you guys some very cool interviews. I unfortunately will not be in town for the North American Festival of Speed. Nick, I am very, very sorry. I really hope that I get to check this out next year. I will make it happen next year for the North American Festival of Speed. So definitely go check them out. Speedfest.us, MotoIQ.com. Definitely go check them out. And I appreciate everybody that comes to check out the show. Tell your friends. Let them know about the show. Let's see, next week's show, I know I have at least 2 interviews while I'm at SEMA. One of them is going to be with Borg Warner, so hopefully we'll go deep into the EFR Series Turbos and also Royal Purple. So hopefully I'll get at least 5 to 10 minutes with them all. And so everybody stay tuned for that. It'll be pre-recorded. I want to try and some episodes. You'll be able to find them both on talkshoe.com, but more than likely I will be uploading them to willscarcast.podomatic.com. I'm working on Moto IQ radio dedicated setup, working on it, but willscarcast.podomatic.com will be where the episode is. That is where I put most of the episodes from MotoIQ.com. They're all there. You can also find them at talkshoe.com/TC_/112511. They're all there, available for streaming and download. But I would really appreciate it if you went to willscarcast.podomatic.com. I could really use those numbers. Also, go check out MotoIQ.com. I don't think you can miss with all the information that's available there, both motorsports coverage, tech. Check out all the fantastic sponsors over there. I don't know what else to say, man, except definitely come check it out. At MotoIQ Radio on Twitter. Hit me up. Let's become friends. Let's rap. Show me some cool stuff that you find online, and I'll be sure to retweet it. And I love having conversations talking about cars and motorsports. The following week after SEMA, I have Siki Manufacturing. They make some very cool LS swap kits. One of which they make for a 350Z, which does compete in drifting. So I have them online probably the week after that. I'm currently working on Ask an Aerodynamicist with Andrew Brilliant. Hopefully we'll have him on by the end of the month. So for all the racers out there, all the people that are out there tweaking their aero, Andrew Brilliant is going to be the guy to talk to. We spoke a little bit about him last week with Ken from FXMD. But I'm rambling. Let's close this sucker up. My name is Will. This is Moto IQ Radio. If you would like to advertise possibly on this particular podcast, hit me up, will@motoiq.com, and I will point you in the right direction. And everybody, have a fantastic evening. Thank you very much for checking out the show, and don't forget to tell your friends about us. MotoIQ.com. This is Moto IQ Radio. Peace.